Welcome back, everyone. Diary of a Horrible Trader. It is April 5th, 2021. Nice, beautiful, bullish day in the market. I, of course, was at my day job all day for that. And I came home to realizing I made a mistake. My stocks, almost all of them, are going up. But I was thinking to myself, I was listening, I was trying to reframe my thinking about how come, why do you always let your losers run and you cut your winners short out of fear or whatever the reason is, right? Or you get too confident and you let your runners run and then you let them come back on you until they become a break even or a loss, right? So I was trying to learn from this swing trader that I listened to, and apparently he's been doing this for something like over 20 years. And he was saying that you should take profits along the way. And I wasn't thinking about that when I put in my good till canceled stop losses. So I get home, it's after market, and I can't actually change my orders to a conditional order, right? Or, change my order to where I can sell a part of my shares and then change the other half of the order to a higher stop loss or whatever, right? All I can do after hours with my broker is do a full cancel, and then tomorrow, I think at approximately 8:30 a.m., they allow you to start putting market orders in again for the day, to where they count. Oh no, sorry. The cancel wouldn't actually go through until 8:30 in the morning. So if I hit cancel now, I'd have to wait till 8:30 in the morning for the actual cancellation to go through to put in a different order type. Now I can hit cancel and replace after hours, so that way I can raise my stop loss, but that's all I can do. So that's actually what I did on almost all of my tickers. I went ahead and did a cancel and replace, and then changed the time horizon to day instead of, good till canceled. So tomorrow at 4 p.m., those stop losses will expire. So that way when I do get home and it's after hours and I see that it's up another 10% or whatever on a certain ticker, and I go, you know what? I've already got a good 20% out of this. Let's take a third or a half off, and just manage the risk and make sure I'm taking profits along the way. Because I figured that's very smart. I should be taking profits along the way instead of being all or nothing. I'll get out when I feel like it kind of attitude. I'm trying to fix my randomness, right? That I'm having, these random ideas and these random directions that I'm going in, and so my goal, like I said, is to just take profits along the way. So unfortunately I made a mistake today. I wasn't thinking about how the good till canceled is going to mess me up there. I come home from my, day job, I'm in after hours now, and I can't actually cancel my stop loss order that's pretty much in there to stay forever, good till canceled. I can cancel it, but it doesn't actually go through as a cancel till like 8:30 tomorrow morning, because they don't cancel market orders properly until the following day. If I'm not in anything already, obviously I can make after hours trades. If I didn't have, if none of my tickers had stop losses and there's no pending market order, and these shares are not already stuck in an order, of course, I could sell them all right now. I could do whatever I wanted with them. I could sell some right now and then put in my other stop. That's the whole point going forward, right? So tomorrow at 4 p.m., before I get home from work, all the stop losses are, if none of them that are triggered, of course, where I sell out of a position automatically tomorrow, all the stop losses are going to automatically, end. The time horizon is going to end and they're going to cancel. That way when I get home, I can make any decisions I want with all the shares. I can go, okay, we're going to raise the stop, we're going to sell a couple shares here at this resistance point and all that kind of stuff. And be like, okay, and then we can let the rest ride to the next resistance point or whatever we want to do. And it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good to be, even though you've already been doing this for a year, that seems like such a novice mistake to make. But at the same time, I know how good till canceled works. I know how day works. It wasn't that I made a mistake in the concepts of how these things work. You know, if you've been watching since the beginning, or if you're someone that's been watching these later and you started at the beginning of my videos and decided to go back, you'll notice that my first 4 videos here, they've been about me making really dumb mistakes, but most of those dumb mistakes don't have anything to do with my inability to understand how the stock market works, how to read charts, or how to put it in order properly and make mistakes along those lines. I know what a good till canceled is. I know what a day order is. There was no mistake in my brain of that. What it was is I didn't really get into these stocks with a plan. I kind of did, but I'm still learning, and a new plan came up in my head, you know, after I was already in them, right? I'm over here like, I'm going to wait until they get up to, you know, and cross below a certain moving average or this or that, right? And then I thought to myself, wow, that whole idea of taking some profits off the table along the way is a really good idea. Because, you know, let's say it hits its first plateau, like 10% up, you know, and you make 10% on it, and you get out you get a third of the trade out. Then, you know, retraces a little bit, then stair steps higher, and you get another, now you're up 25%, and you can take another third off. Now that other third, and you're raising your stop as you go too, below these swing lows, of course, right? So now that last third, you're not worried about that last third at all. It's next to impossible for you to lose money on that last third, and you already made a bunch of money on the first 2/3, right? So on that last third, you can just let it run till it's done running. And of course, whenever that happens, what are you hoping for when you get into a trade and it's, you know, crossing over from the bottom and it's starting to go a little parabolic? You're hoping it's an Amazon parabolic, right? The one where it, over years and years and years, it just seems to not stop having momentum to the upside, right? Most stocks do not do that, at least not for the length of time that Amazon has. Almost all stocks go up over time. Most stocks go up over time, but not like Amazon did, where the momentum seems to increase to the upside as well. It's not just diagonal with the S&P up, it's like curving upward, and it did like a slow curve upward, parabolic, like for like years. And that's what everybody's always looking for. Like, but how do you make sure that you stay in a trade that long? And not like every little fluctuation that happens makes you a little, oh, hurry up and sell, you know? Well, it's real simple. You know, when a stock's popping up off the bottom and it's having a nice fast gain, and you take your first 2/3 off for a really good profit, and you raise your stop loss below that swing low, you're over here like, it's almost impossible for me to lose money on this trade now. I mean, the stock would have to gap down 50% overnight. Actually, 50% overnight for that last third to eat up the profits of the first 2/3, right? So you can just breathe easy after that, and you can just let it ride for as long as you want. If the ticker tends to respect the 200 moving average, you can let it ride the 200 moving average until it finally crosses below it, however long it takes, weeks, months, years if you're lucky. And you're just riding that stock ticker as it's parabolic for however long that it is, right? Some tickers like to respect the 50, some tickers like to respect the 500, and actually some tickers like to respect the 100. So just a little, caveat there. I wouldn't keep the 100 moving average on your chart all the time. I would just be, if you're looking at a ticker and you're trying to figure out which moving average it likes to respect, and what we mean by respect in this industry is which moving average does it almost guaranteedly react to and bounce off of, right? Almost every ticker has that one moving average that it almost guaranteedly bounces off of, right? And so you got your 20, your 50, your 200, and your 500, and sometimes the 100 for whatever reason. So if you're ever looking at a stock and you're like, it doesn't seem to bounce off the 200, it doesn't seem to bounce off the 50, maybe it's in between. You put the 100 in there, and sometimes you'll see that it's actually really respects the 100. Of course, I mean, you don't want to, you know, mess around with a stock until you figure out the exact perfect strange off-the-wall moving average for every single one of them. Like, oh, well, this particular ticker really loves to respect the 38. The 38, like, you know, like, don't have to be that ridiculous with it. But it goes back to what I was saying in a previous video about indicators. There are a lot of stocks out there that seem to respect certain indicators. I don't know how that happens. I don't know if there's like someone with a lot more money out there that particularly, like, there's stocks out there that the MACD almost perfectly every time, if the MACD crosses up, you're getting a good pop out of that bad boy, 20-50%, however much. Then there's other stocks where the MACD will never matter. It never respects it. Well, technically the MACD is a trailing indicator representing the price points itself. So we're not ever really trying to claim that the stock itself is respecting the MACD, but the traders are, right? The MACD starts crossing upward, and you know, the traders seem to love the MACD for that particular ticker, or it just breathes, you know, because how every stock has its kind of like breathing length. Some stocks go up for a few weeks and then fall for a few weeks. Some stocks like to climb for 1 week and fall for a week. You know, they're in general breathing in and out. If your normal MACD, you know, if you got it on the default settings of 12, 26, and 9, there's just certain tickers that just breathe in and out with the right time horizon in such a way that the MACD just looks perfectly aligned with it. And you can use that MACD as a trading indicator for it. So almost every single ticker has that, but it's not the same for every indicator. Every single ticker seems to have a different indicator that you could use paired with that ticker, and like it just looks so obviously aligned together, and you're like, oh wow. Takes a lot of time though to figure it out for each one. So that's how come people usually say what you really want to do is eventually get to the point that you can trade price and volume, and that is true. You do eventually want to get to the point that you can trade price and volume. That is a part of what I'm trying to, you know, make one of my goals as well. Of course, everybody wants to get to the point that they can trade price and volume and you're not using indicators like training wheels, right? But I said in my last video, I'm going to say it again, if you've got gurus out there, you know, trying to make you feel bad because you use indicators, you know, F them, you know, because it's your money and not theirs, right? And if you think it gives you an edge, fine. Whether it does or doesn't is irrelevant. But if you've made money because you like to respect a certain indicator and you've been using it for so long that you've almost kind of figured out how to really, you know, negotiate how it, you know, interacts with the stock price and everything like that. And you've gotten really good at just using one tool. If that tool has been making you money, no one can judge you at all. Because remember, what is it? Over 90% of traders lose money, right? I think they really say 95%, right? But I don't think they really account for the people that stay in it a lot longer. But almost anyone who's new loses money, right? You might get lucky for a little while, but then you're like, oh, this is actually not a joke, you know? So yeah. Anyway, so that was the mistake that I made, was not putting my stop loss in as a day. I put it in as a good till canceled order. So now I've got them switched to day orders. That way, like I said, when I come home tomorrow, I can, you know, change my mind on whatever it is I want to do based on what the price action was actually doing for the day. You know what I mean? And I can take some profits off the table. If it looks way too bullish, like there's almost no possible way that it's not still in a parabolic uptrend for at least 1 or 2 more days, I might not take anything off. Maybe that would be dumb. Maybe if I was thinking more clearly and more objectively, I would always take a little bit off after you hit a certain percentage marker or a resistance line or something like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, for anyone that's keeping score and was watching from yesterday's video, I'm in a series of tickers. I'm just going to quickly run down how they're doing. TLRY is the one that's doing the worst. It actually seems to be just, it's probably looking like it's going to end up hitting my stop loss without a profit. That's important to be clear about. It's always hard to tell. You never really know with the way things are bouncing, but I got in it a little early after getting in it very late, if anyone who's keeping score and was watching these videos. And remember, the reason why I even want to do any of this, there's actually a multitude of reasons at this point now. First off, like I said before, I hope one day people can come back to these videos and look at someone that eventually became good at this, and can look at the example and go, wow, there actually was someone putting out videos showing that they are not good at this, showing that they're not sure of themselves because they're new, and they still eventually figured it out. So my goal is, down the road, hopefully it's always sooner than later. But let's say it takes me another year. I don't care how long it takes for me to become a consistently profitable trader. One day down the road, the goal would be I would be a consistently profitable trader, and people will be able to come back to my old videos when they watch my newer videos and go, wow, has he always known how to do this? It feels like these people always know how to do this, and these gurus, they sell you things and they treat you like crap, and they practically yell at you for not already knowing what you're doing, and you're just like, you almost feel like those gurus never went through that process, and they did. You can almost guarantee that they did. Anyone with a logical mind would know that they went through these pains and growing pains, but almost none of them ever talk about it. They might show you, that one bad trade they had the other day. Oh, I'm down 18 grand. But like the way they talk about it, you can tell they don't even care that they're down 18 grand. Like at all. They're just trying to prove that they're people, that they're real. And they are. They're gonna make mistakes, and everybody knows it, right? But at the end of the day, no one out there is showing you the struggle currently of someone who isn't profitable, who's in the early stages. So I'm hoping that one day down the road, people can look back at these early videos of me and go, wow, that guy obviously did not know much about what he was talking about, and also, was struggling, and you can kind of go, wow, well, if he eventually got to here, maybe I could too. Also, the other reason I like doing these videos already, and it means I'm definitely going to continue doing them, this is something I talked about, I think in my first or second video. I feel now like I actually have someone to live up to. Okay, so, because the problem with this industry is you don't have an authority figure above you telling you that you have to do a good job and trade perfectly, or at least stick to your plan, or you're fired. Nope. You can just keep being an idiot and trading completely wrong, breaking your own rules when you make a trading plan, and you can do it forever and spin your wheels forever, and there's no one there to slap your hand, aside from maybe yourself, right? And then, so now I'm over here like, okay, if I make these videos, that means that there's going to be an audience who, of course, the goal is, to let you guys have a laugh at me as well. It's funny. It's funny that I'm starting out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing the best that I can. So the point is to have a laugh at me, but also it actually does make me a little more serious about this, because I don't want to embarrass myself to the actual public. These are public YouTube videos, and I don't want to have like a bunch of people out there on the internet going, wow, this guy really is a clown. He's going on 6 months of YouTube videos now, and he's still just trading the exact same way, like a complete idiot that has no integrity, won't follow his own plans, won't do anything right. It's almost like he's messing up on purpose, like who wants to be the person with that public personality, right? So in a sense, having these videos and knowing that people are probably going to watch them eventually, I've got no views yet, of course, but if people are going to watch them eventually, it's like, it makes me even more serious about this. Like now more than ever, I mean, I've already been trying to get even better at following my own plans and being consistent and all that stuff anyway. And I was already like trying to light a fire under my butt to, you know, really stay consistent and trade properly at all times. But this just adds even more emphasis on the fact that I need to do that, because the goal is, first off, not to embarrass myself publicly and just you know, trade like I have no idea what I'm doing, or not carrying properly for the next however many years, just not doing that on purpose to myself. Then also the goal of eventually having these videos turn into videos where it might be titled The Horrible Trader, right? But the guy isn't horrible at trading anymore, and people can go back and, like I said, and look at where I started at. You know what I mean? That would be nice. That would be nice. You know? At any rate, TLRY, not doing well. Well, it's hard to describe. It hasn't hit my stop, which I put basically under the swing low from before I got in. And it's kind of double bottoming, but you can't really tell because it's still on the downward slope towards where it would hit double bottom. I don't know for sure that it's not just going to drop on through, right? It hasn't had its second bottom bounce to where I can say, oh yeah, I got in at the right time. I might have messed up. I'm not really sure. You won't know until then, but then there's RIOT. RIOT did very well. Apparently Bitcoin's climbing because RIOT and Mara tend to follow that. And I was able to raise my stop loss to break even on that. Again, I probably would have liked to have taken a little profit off the table today when I got home, but I can't because I put everything in good till canceled. So I'm actually just going to put this at break even stop loss now. I mean, it still has the potential, from looking at the chart, it's got the potential to have the momentum to climb a lot more. And taking a third off now probably would be a little premature, but it would just make me feel a little better, right? You've already got some profits under your neck and you're trying to start having the habit of taking those profits, you know, instead of just being all or nothing, completely moronic. Next is NXE. That one climbed really nicely, and as of now, I was able to raise my stop well above my entry. So my entry was around 355 and my stop is now at 394. So very happy about that. It could literally just, you know, fall tomorrow and I'd be fine with it, unless of course that crazy thing happens where it just gaps well below and opens up lower. But right now we are in our bullish double bottom, you know, continuation period here on the overall market, and these tickers all seem to be following that pretty well. So I don't see any of these tickers just gap opening really ridiculously low tomorrow, unless there's just ridiculous news in the pre-market tomorrow or something like that. NEE, kind of the same thing. What was it? Oh yeah, I was able to raise my stop to above my entry, which was nice. So now, for my two trades that I had already said I got in for the wrong reasons, well, there's this reversal level things I was following. I was going to follow them blindly, and really, if you're following anything, even a automatic algorithm that you know over time makes a decent amount of money, you should still probably, or I should still probably go, there's still not a confirmation there. I should still at least have my short-term period EMA cross over at about the right time. So on Finvolutions, I mean, that was the one where it popped up in one day, doubling from 4.7 to over 9.5. And then like the very next day I got into that one as it was kind of retracing a little bit, and that was really not smart. I mean, I knew better and I did it anyway because this thing said, buy now, it came above the reversal level. Well, obviously if it climbs 100%, it's gonna cross every reversal level on the planet. You know what I mean? But it's not supposed to stay up there. It's supposed to retrace back down to like a, you know, a relatively, you know, common, you know, support level. So looks like it might actually be bottoming where it's at. I went ahead and brought up my stop to pretty tight at this point. And this is, again, for anyone that didn't see the other video, I let this thing fall way too far before I started getting serious about it. And so we're at a point where it bounced off 6.6, and I got in somewhere ridiculous up at 845, and it bounced at the 6.6 level. It's currently holding strong at 701 after like 2 days of trading after that bounce. And so I just kind of tightened up my stop a little bit to 677, and I'm just waiting to see what it does tomorrow. If it pops down through my stop, oh well, I'm finally out of that trade. I should have never held on to a losing trade for as long as I did, and that's what happens. And same thing with FANH. I got in for the same reasons, almost the exact same story, and it's pretty much doing the exact same thing the other one is doing, and I tightened my stop up on that one as well. I am in FANH at around 1580, and it is down. It dropped all the way down to 1381, bounced, and now it's been up for a few days, and I raised my stop to 1394, just tightened it up a little bit. Because now I'm looking at it, I know it doesn't make any sense, because my attitude towards this particular trade at this point is not the, oh, I'm just trying to get to break even. No, I did mess up. I should have never let it go as low as it did. But at this point, I'm just kind of reframing my mind, because I'm already in the trade. I'm already down, and when I finally decided I was going to get out, it started bouncing like it's really done and it's on the bottom. So I basically just had to reframe my mindset. Pretend like I just got in the trade right now. It is at a loss, but if I had sold on the way down, this pattern I'm looking at might actually be approximately where I would have got in if I was like, okay, time to get back in. So now I'm like, okay, I'm already in the trade. It's already starting to look like it's going back up. It is going back up. What I'm talking about is the pattern where it double bottoms. It's trying to do its second bottom now. So my thing is if it just passes right through my stop, then fine, I'm done with it, whatever. But I'm just, not looking at it like, oh, I got to get back to break even, or I have to be that person that always has a win, so I'm going to just ride it forever until I have the win. No, and that was never my plan from the beginning. But I didn't really plan this one out. It was a reversal level play. The volatility messed with the reversal level algorithm, and it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. So I'm just, acting as if I got it in at this double bottom, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and I get out anyway. I'm already down here, and I'm not planning on it going any lower. What I mean by that is I'm getting out if it does. So I'm already here where I'm at. I'm already in the trade. It looks like it's going to go higher, but if it doesn't, whatever, I'm stopping out, and I'm actually going to commit to that stop out, and I'm just not going to have to move on with my life, right? And so EA, another one that's looking really good. I was able to raise my stop up above my entry. I mean, some of these I could have raised the stop even higher, but my goal is not to get stopped out tomorrow. I'm very bullish on these longer term, right? My goal is to try and have these, to stay in these a little longer and try to get better profits out of them. Of course, we all know, like, oh, that's chasing the greed. You're trying to time the top. Not trying to time the top. I'm talking like these look like they're setting up to have a pattern to where they could be bullish for a good couple of weeks. I'm not just gonna let myself stop out at the very first little bit of retracement in the first 3 days. That would just be foolishness. And the matter of fact, like I said, that's why I wish I didn't mess up on the good till canceled thing. Because if I was in here after hours, I'll just give you an example, EA Sports, right? Or EA Games. I'm in at about a 135.64. It closed today at about 141.44, right? So, what, good $6 a share? Not angry about that. And I was actually thinking, well, EA is not a good example because I've only actually got 1 share of it. But if I had 5 shares, we'll just go with an example, okay? I would have wanted, when I got home today, to, after hours, maybe sell a couple of those shares because after hours, it's looking really good. It's actually looking like it's going to climb overnight. But still, you don't presume you know anything, right? Especially if you're new. You know, maybe later, I mean, all the gurus will really tell you they can't really predict it either. But come on. You know that the better you get at this, the better you can, you know, tell the chart pattern's telling you how much longer it wants to go, right? We're talking, I mean, we're early in the momentum here. I would bet actual money on this. I mean, I am betting money on it, but I mean like against somebody else that this is definitely gonna go above its previous swing high of 147. At any rate, but yeah, I would have took a couple shares off the table. That way I know I locked profits in on them. And then I also know that I can raise my stop a little higher. It gives me the freedom to raise my stop a little higher because I know I've already taken, you know, some decent profits, right? And that way, if this thing just starts turning for no reason tomorrow, I can get the rest out and also take an okay profit on that as well. But now, because I made this mistake with this good till canceled nonsense, I've got my stop a little wider. I mean, it's really just below the 15-minute like swing low. There's actually 2 swing lows below the high. That way, I mean, this thing has to reverse hard tomorrow to really fall below it. And again, it's good to not have my stop too high anyway. It's not just because I made the good till canceled mistake that my stop is higher. Lower than where I might want it to be. It's also because, what did I say? I want this to be a longer term trade. I don't want to get stopped out of this tomorrow just because of like the smallest retracement, right? I need this thing to drop below 2, you know, intraday support levels, right? I need it to drop below 2 of them before it's going to hit my stop. And then you're like, yeah. Yep. I don't think that that's asking for too much. CZR. Now this one, I was able to raise to break even. And it's looking bullish. And it's looking like we're going to get a good trade out of this one too. It's just not climbing as fast as the others like I'd like. Of course, I want them all to go to the moon the first day. Who doesn't? You know, and ASX, kind of the same thing. I was actually, this one I raised to slightly below. So I got in at 783. It closed at 792, and I was able to raise my stop to 773. So that one looking like it's gonna climb, just like the rest of them look like they're gonna climb. Like almost the entire market is in bullish mode now, but it's not doing it as fast, you know. But I'm still trying to be smart about it, raise my stops. You know what I mean? If it starts going against me, you get out and you hold on to your money. What do they say? You know, just don't lose money. If you're trading stocks, don't lose money. And what we mean by that is, I mean, you don't want to be completely neurotic about it. You know, like if I lose a single dollar, I'm just gonna kill myself. You know, you can't think like that. What we mean by that is, you know, they have that law of attrition, right? If you lose, what was it? If you lose 25% of your account or 25% on a trade, you need to make 33% to get back the same amount of money. So, and we all know, you know, that making the money just seems to be so much harder than losing it. Losing it just seems to be something you can do by accident, no problem. But making the money just seems to take a lot of effort. So it really sucks if you make a decent amount of profits over the course of a month and then you take a really bad trade and you don't manage the risk on it and you lose almost all those profits in one trade, right? And they talk about it, all these people talk about this stuff, I'm talking about it, and that absolutely makes sense. So my whole thing is here, it might seem like I'm raising my stops a little too soon, and maybe I am, but I am not interested in losing money anymore. Just not. I'd almost rather I only make like 5% on every single trade, a measly 5%, than ever lose any. You know what I mean? Because, and I don't mean lose the trade, you know, like as a bad battering average. If you lose a trade, you lose a trade. You get out. What I mean is allowing the trade to go against me and watching my account bleed out, right? I'm done with that. That's my goal. That is like my current goal is not even to be, I mean, it's of course to be profitable, but my current goal is to finally start sticking to the plan and stop allowing my account to bleed out. I mean, it's, what's the point in that? And there's so many different reasons why that's a horrible idea. I mean, obviously, because you're losing money, but secondly, the opportunity cost that's lost. There's always a ticker going up. Even if it's the bearish inverse ETFs, right? The ones that you can buy long, you know? Even if those are the only ones that are going up, there's always a ticker going up. Why are you in a losing trade? There's absolutely no excuse for it at all. There's none. Take the money out, put it into something else. It's that simple. What is the point in being in a trade that is losing? There isn't any. Get out fast. If a trade looks almost anything like it's going to go against you, just take the lick, get out of Dodge. Find a trade that's not doing that, right? That's it for today, guys. Thank you.